Very good evening all children, how are you? Hope you are all doing great, right? So, now we are going to discuss about nutrition, that is life processes. Under the chapter life processes of 10th class students, we are going to deal with nutrition. Before entering into the concept, let us discuss like what are living organisms made of? What are living organisms made of beta? Living organisms are made of cells. Okay. So, cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Group of cells, okay, group of cells which are similar in origin, which are similar in function, and has common origin, Those group of cells which has common origin and perform similar functions. They can be structurally similar or dissimilar. These cells can be structurally similar or dissimilar. Okay, they can be structurally similar or dissimilar. So, what is this one? This is a tissue. This is a tissue. Okay. Group of cells which are similar in function and has common origin, but they can be structurally similar or dissimilar, performing only one activity. They are grouped to form what ma? Tissues. Group of tissues will form one organ, like this is one organ. Okay. Group of organs will form organ systems. Organ systems will form organism. Group of organisms will form population. Group of different populations will form a community. Group of different communities will form a biosphere. This is the hierarchy of organization in living organisms. So, what is the basic structural and functional unit of life? Cell is the structural and functional unit of life. We will call this, it is because cell is independent in existence and survival. Okay. Existence in function, it is independent. Single cell can live without help of anything. Okay. So, yes, cells made up of protoplasm, commonly called living matter, and cell organelles. Okay. A cell is basically composed of a cell membrane, protoplasm, which includes cell organelles or cellular constituents, and inside it there is a nucleus and cytoplasm, cell membrane, together we will call it as a cell. Okay. To sustain the life processes, various biochemical reactions occur inside each living cell, where you will call it as metabolism. Inside each cell, so much of biochemical reactions will occur, which include both anabolism means the synthesis of food, catabolism which means breakdown of food. Anabolism means what ma? Synthesis of food. Catabolism means what ma? Breakdown of food or any macromolecules. Both the activities include biochemical reactions which take place in each and every living cell. We will call it as metabolic reactions. And some of the important processes required for the life are this: all the activities, be it nutrition, respiration, reproduction, circulation, transportation and coordination, all these life processes are coordinated. They are coordinated in function. No activity is isolated with respect to the other process. All these processes are interconnected and coordinated in a living system. Clear ma? Yeah. Now, we are going to discuss about nutrition. Now, we are going to discuss about what beta? Nutrition. Nutrition is nothing but the process by which living organisms procure nutrients, synthesize them and change them into simple adorable form by series of biochemical reactions. Nutrition is nothing but the organisms will procure nutrients in many of the ways. Nutrition can be of two types, one is autotrophic nutrition and the other is heterotrophic nutrition. Okay. Nutrition is of two types. Okay. Nutrition is of two types. One is autotrophic nutrition, and the next type is what, Mana? Heterotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition is again of two types based on the energy it is utilizing to prepare the food. Firstly, let us know what is autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition is by using simpler inorganic molecules, simpler inorganic molecules it prepares its own food material, simpler inorganic molecules and energy, utilizing energy, be it as light energy or any chemical energy like ATP, and synthesizing the complex organic molecules. Synthesizing complex organic molecules is called as autotrophic nutrition, which prepares their own food material either by utilizing the light energy or by utilizing the chemical energy. As such, we have two types of autotrophic nutrition. One is photosynthetic, and the other is chemosynthetic, Okay. Photosynthetic autotrophic mode of nutrition, wherein the energy utilized is sunlight. Sunlight is used in the form of photons. The energy is used for the preparation of its own food material, mostly some aerobic bacteria or plants, especially higher plants. Higher plants will conduct nutrition by photosynthetic way, okay, photosynthetic mode of nutrition. Chemosynthetic mode of nutrition, where the energy utilized is the chemical energy. Energy utilized is the chemical energy which is produced as a result of oxidizing some molecules, okay. The energy produced as a result of oxidation of some macromolecules is called as chemical energy. It can be ATP or NADPH. The energy produced is by oxidation. This energy is produced from, or this energy is produced by oxidation of macromolecules, and this energy is utilized for formation of food materials. This is mostly used by the bacteria, okay, and mostly the electron donor will be H2S. Here the electron donor will be H2O, okay, and chemosynthetic mode of autotrophic nutrition will be highly useful for, it is highly useful for mineral cycling. It is highly useful for mineral cycling. Clear beta? Now comes the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. The organisms that depend on the other organisms for nutrition is called as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Autotrophic mode of nutrition means the organisms are taking care of their own nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition, the organisms which depend on the other organisms for nutrition. For example, this is of three types. Ma. One is symbiotic mode of nutrition, symbiotic. Second is saprophytic, and third is parasitic mode of nutrition. Third is what ma? Parasitic mode of nutrition. These are three types of heterotrophic nutrition. If you look into the explanation more clearly, photosynthetic nutrition, which is seen in the green plants, it uses solar energy to manufacture their own food in the form of simple sugars like glucose from inorganic compounds like carbon dioxide, water in the presence of chlorophyll is called as photosynthesis. The organisms which perform photosynthesis is called as photosynthetic organisms. Chemosynthetic organisms, they will use chemical energy which can be ATP or NADPH, which is released during oxidation of some organic molecules at the time of preparation of food. Such organisms are called as chemoautotrophs. This process is called as chemosynthesis. Okay. Examples, best examples are sulfur bacteria, iron bacteria, nitrosomonas. These are highly useful for mineral cycling. This is highly useful for mineral cycling. Clear, Nana? Now, heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition, wherein it is saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic, and symbiotic mode of nutrition it is not given. I will explain you, no problem. Saprophytic nutrition, organisms obtain nourishment from dead and decaying organisms. You know children, what happens if here the organism is there, it will release out some digestive enzymes to the surroundings. If the organism has identified some food matter here, okay, some food is present around its surroundings, then this organism will release some digestive enzymes, which will digest the molecules present, which will digest the complex organic molecules present over here, and then simplifying this into simpler substances, Okay. After simplifying it into simpler substances, this organism consumes the food through endocytosis. This will consume the food through endocytosis. This is saprophytic mode of nutrition, which is mostly relying on the dead and decaying matter which is on the earth. Okay, dead and decaying matter. For best examples for saprophytic mode of nutrition is mushroom, mold, yeast and bacteria. Mushrooms, molds, yeast and bacteria are the best example for saprophytic mode of nutrition. Next, parasitic nutrition. Parasitic nutrition, where the organisms derive the nourishment from host without killing it. Okay. Mostly this leads to the death of the organism after consuming. Best example is Plasmodium, which is a malarial parasite, Ascariasis, okay, and Tinea. These are the diseases which are caused as a result of parasitic nutrition. In plants, the best example of parasitic nutrition is Cuscuta and Striga. Okay. What does these plants do now beta? They will extend into the xylem and phloem tissues of the preceding plant, and they will get or extract the nutrients from the xylem and phloem of those plants. Okay. Cuscuta, which is a partial parasitic plant, which will enter into the xylem of the preceding plant and it will get the mineral and water from there. Cuscuta will enter both into the, it will dwell into both xylem and phloem. It will dwell both into the xylem and phloem, and it will get both the food, water, minerals, nutrients, whatever is there from the preceding plant. Next, the third type, as I have said you, is symbiotic mode of nutrition. Symbiotic mode of nutrition, wherein the best example I will say you beta, symbiotic association between algae and fungi. The algal component in this association will give food materials, it will give food or nutrition to the fungi. Fungi will take care of the shelter of the algae. Best example of algal fungal association is lichens. Okay, lichen is the best example for algal fungal association. So these are three modes beta. What are they? Saprophytic, parasitic and symbiotic. One more type of nutrition that we human beings will take is holozoic mode of nutrition, where we feed on the complex molecules, we will ingest it and then we will digest, consuming the complex organic molecules, be it carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and then entering into the body, they will get simplified into the simpler molecules. Now, let us discuss in detail about holozoic mode of nutrition. This is a 5-step process beta. This is mostly used by, this is done by all the animals. Mostly all the animals will feed on the holozoic mode of nutrition only, whereas plants will conduct holophytic mode of nutrition, wherein it will take all the simpler molecules, prepare its own food material into complex organic molecules. The animals will conduct holozoic mode of nutrition, which is of 5 steps. First is ingestion, intake of the complex organic food. Second is digestion. Third, absorbing the food. Fourth, assimilating the absorbed food. Fifth is egestion, releasing out or taking off the undigested or unwanted food material. So, this holozoic mode of nutrition we have herbivores and carnivores, omnivores. Herbivores, those which feed on plants. Those which feed on plants are herbivores beta. Carnivores, those which feed on the herbivores are called as carnivores. Omnivores, for example, we human beings will eat both vegetarian and non-vegetarian. We will consume both plants and animals. As such, we are not alone. There are many other animals which are omnivorous, like sparrow, crow, rat, pig. All these are omnivorous only. Yeah. So here let us discuss the autotrophic mode of nutrition in plants, which is highly important beta. Autotrophic mode of nutrition in plants. As we have discussed, from roots water is consumed mostly. From the atmosphere carbon dioxide is taken. From roots water is taken, okay, and this in the presence of sunlight. Sunlight is absorbed in what form beta? Photons. Okay, sunlight absorbed in the form of photons, and this is through which pigment? Chlorophyll. Through chlorophyll pigment, it is forming complex sugar molecule, that is C6H12O6. This is glucose, and water molecule is released. Oxygen is released as a byproduct which we are inhaling. Okay. So, here if you look into the complex equation, exact equation which is given by CB Vanil, it is 6CO2 plus 6H2O. In the presence of chlorophyll, it is forming glucose and 6H2O and oxygen. Okay, this is what we will learn. Here it will be 12H2O and here it is 6. Done. So, this is the standard equation which is given by CB Vanil. This is the photosynthesis that happens in the higher plants. So, photosynthesis is of two types. Two processes will take place that you will understand once you will look into the chloroplast structure. So, here which organ is conducting the lightma? Which organ is conducting photosynthesis? Leaves. Okay, leaves will conduct photosynthesis, right? Leaves are composed of what cells? Mesophyll cells. Leaves are composed of mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells will have chloroplast. If this is a mesophyll cell is composed of n number of chloroplast. So many chloroplast. See how much deep is the process beta? Inside leaf is a photosynthetic organ. Inside leaves you will have mesophyll cells. Each mesophyll cell has so many chloroplasts inside it. inside a chloroplast has two structures. Okay, this is the chloroplast structure. Chloroplast has, firstly, chloroplast is a double membrane bound organelle. This is a double membrane bound organelle. Okay, and inside a chloroplast you will see membranous sac like structures. What do you see beta? Membranous sac like structures called as thylakoid. Okay, membranous sac like structures called as thylakoid, and the stalk of sac like structures. Okay, stalk of sac like structures is called as grana. Stalk of sac like structures is called as what, Nana? Grana. One grana is connected to other grana by stroma lamellae. One grana is connected to another grana by what ma? Stroma lamellae. Okay, this sac like structures, membranous sac like structures, the membrane of thylakoid is called as thylakoid membrane. Thylakoid membrane or thylakoid lamellae. Okay, so yes, these sac like structures are present inside the fluid filled space called as stroma. These sac like structures are present where beta? Inside the fluid filled space, that is stroma. Clear? So here the fluid filled space will have some starch granules, will have the lipid droplets, and they also have small double stranded circular DNA. They will also have small double stranded circular DNA which will synthesize world's abundant protein, that is what, Nana? Rubisco. They will synthesize world's abundant protein which is Rubisco. Clear? So as it is having its own DNA, this organelle is called as semi-autonomous organelle. This organelle is called as what, Nana? Semi-autonomous or self-replicating organelle. Semi-autonomous or self-replicating organelles. Okay, so this is about chloroplast structure, and we all know that eukaryotic cells will have what ribosomes ma? 80S ribosomes, right? But here in chloroplast we have 70S ribosomes. We are here in chloroplast we have what ribosomes ma? 70S ribosomes. This 70S ribosomes it has because it is similar to that of prokaryotic cell. How this chloroplast is emerged? How the chloroplast has entered into a eukaryotic cell? Once upon a time, long ago, chloroplast is also one of the prokaryotic cell. Chloroplast and mitochondria, these are also what? Prokaryotic cell. But in the process of evolution, they have entered into eukaryotic cell, which is well explained in what theory ma? Endosymbiotic theory. Which is well explained in endosymbiotic theory. Clear? Understood? This is the entire history or the structure of the chloroplast. You have to know all this about the chloroplast. This is the complete story of chloroplast. Now you have to know inside a chloroplast where light reaction will take place, where dark reaction will take place. Before that you have to know what is light reaction and what is dark reaction. Look into it clearly ma. First you look into it. Photosynthesis is conducted in two steps ma. Photosynthesis in higher plants is conducted in two steps beta. What are they? One is light reaction, one is light reaction or light dependent reactions, and the second is dark reactions or light independent reactions or biosynthetic reactions, biosynthetic phase also we will call it as, okay. Calling this light independent reactions as dark reactions is a misnomer. Calling this as dark reaction is a misnomer because these reactions will not take place in dark, they are dependent on the products of light reaction, they are not directly dependent on light. That is why we are calling it as light independent reaction or dark reaction, okay. They are not directly dependent on light, it does not mean they are taking place in dark. What are the three successive steps that happen in the light reaction or light dependent reaction? First is absorption of light, that is sunlight, in the form of photons, Second is photolysis of water, and release of oxygen. And third is formation of assimilatory power, Assimilatory power means what, Nana? Both ATP and NADPH, okay. So this assimilatory power is utilized to fix carbon dioxide or to reduce carbon dioxide into glucose, okay. To reduce carbon dioxide into glucose, this assimilatory power is used. Now, where are this absorption of light in the form of photons or photolysis of water, formation of ATP and NADPH, and where glucose is formed, this and all you have to know. Where are the actual locations that it is taking place? First, absorption of light, which is the first step, this takes place in thylakoid membrane or thylakoid lamellae, where the light energy is absorbed by photosystems present in it. Light energy is absorbed by photosystems present in it, okay. Here this, after absorbing light energy, inside the thylakoid you have thylakoid lumen. Inside thylakoid lumen, photolysis of water happens. Photolysis of water will happen where, Nana? In thylakoid lumen. Formation of assimilatory power takes place in stroma, and this energy is utilized and sugars are formed. Sugars are also formed inside the stroma. It is very much important for you people to know where the actual steps or synthesis is happening. Absorption of light in the form of photons in thylakoid membrane because it has photosystems. Photolysis of water or oxygen release takes place in thylakoid lumen, and formation of assimilatory power, both ATP and NADPH are formed in stroma, and glucose synthesis also takes place in stroma. In our coming class, we will discuss more clearly on the photosynthetic reactions, how carbon dioxide is used, how glucose is formed, and how the photosynthetic reactions are taking place, who discovered that. Everything we are going to discuss in the next class. As of now, you quickly recall or you quickly look into the differences between light reaction and dark reaction. The very first, light reaction is also called as photochemical reaction, okay. Light phase is also called as photochemical reaction or biosynthetic reaction. Here you can add on one more point, beta. Photosynthesis is also called as anabolic process, or it is also called as physicochemical process, or it is also called as oxidoreductive process, In the next class we will discuss it more clearly. Anabolic or physicochemical and oxidoreductive process. Why it is called as such, we will discuss in the next class. As of now, you recall all the differences, clear differences. Light reaction in the thylakoid membrane. Just now we have seen no beta in the thylakoid membrane. Dark reaction in the stroma of the chloroplast. Requirement of light is there. Here they doesn't require the light reaction in the light independent reactions. Conversion of light energy to chemical energy, that is why it is called as physicochemical process. Here fixation of carbon dioxide takes place. Key inputs for light reaction are light, water, NADP plus ADP and inorganic phosphate for the formation of carbon dioxide, ATP and NADPH. Here the outputs are ATP, NADPH and oxygen. Here glucose is formed as a end product of dark reaction. The byproduct which is released is oxygen here. Here there is no byproduct in the dark reaction. Pigments involved are chlorophyll and accessory pigments like carotenoids, xanthophylls, and uses ATP and NADPH. The products of light reaction are used for dark reaction. Energy utilization, here solar energy converted to chemical energy, here only chemical energy is used. Time of occurrence, only in the presence of light, here both in the presence and absence of light dark reactions takes place. These are the key differences beta. In the next class we are going to discuss it more detailedly, more elaboratedly, including all the experiments and reactions. So stay tuned. Thank you.